so much. Again, my name is Angus Thompson. I'm the retired and former public defender of Robeson County, also pronounced Robinson County. If you spell it R-O-B and stop, you will pronounce it Robeson County. But if you spell it R-O-B and stop, you will pronounce it Robinson County. So either one of them we accept. It's a pleasure to be here. I see these little ones around, and I want you to know that this is really what this is about, our children. This is about our children. Now, I know these children here, I know they know their ABCs. How many alphabets in the ABC? 5? 26? Okay. 26 alphabets in the ABC. All right, I'm gonna want you to remember 3 different little, not alphabets, but I have 3 things that I want you to remember before we leave here today. But first of all, let me tell you this. Yeah, I'm a lawyer, and I'm a trial lawyer. And, I argue before jurors. Now, I had a little 10-page speech that I was going to make, but guess what? You all lucky, because I lost my speech. And look, and the best jury arguments I ever made was when I lost my speech. So it's going to be short. But I want you to know this. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. I learned that, and that was the slogan in my office, because we represent people who couldn't afford lawyers, and some of them would be over there incarcerated in the county jail. And I had a policy, you go over there and see them at least once a week. Well, Mr. Thompson, there's nothing different happening in that case. Well, you go tell them that. You be brave enough to tell them there's nothing happening in their case. Go tell them. And you try telling somebody who's been locked up a year or so and you haven't been to see them, you go see them every week. Tell them hey, every time you go, you tell them there's nothing new in their case. And you know what they're going to do? Fire you. That's exactly what they're going to do. So look, we have to, as advocates for our children, we have to actually do what we call maintenance. That means we have to keep up with our public laws. We have to keep up with our public policies. And we have to let them know that we care. They don't care how much you know. They want to know how much you care. And just like my clients, I mean, hey, they want you to know who their family members are, what kind of problems they had before they were incarcerated. And some of them, they care more about their family matters than they do about their case. They want to know if their children are being fed, if their children are going to school. So it's about children. Now, let me tell you, we're here to protest, and when you protest, that's always a celebration. It's been 27 years since Leandro was filed in 1994. So we're here to protest. Celebrate, yes, those 27 years. We've weathered 27 years, and hopefully we're going to get some funding soon. But I want you to know, for those who know the words of prayer, we're here to pray too. We want to pray. And when is it? August the 31st is the prayer vigil before the North Carolina Supreme Court. So we're here to protest. Can say protest. And we're here to pray. Say pray. And we're going to do that on August the 31st. We're going to pray. And guess what we're going to do on November the 8th? All right, we're going to what? Pray. Hey, we're going to protest. We're going to what? Pray. And we're going to what? Vote. Let's say it again. We're going to protest. We're going to pray. And we're going to vote. All right. So that's what we're going to do. And you know what? When we talk about the lawsuit, everybody wants to talk about, there's some constitutional dimensions in that lawsuit that the Supreme Court will decide, some constitutional issues. But that's a lot of legalese. That's for the appellate lawyers who are able appellate lawyers. If you haven't read the brief, and I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of reading. But basically, they've done an excellent job. The amicus curiae brief that others have filed to join in our plight have done an excellent job. But they're going to decide some constitutional issues. Well, you know, the Constitution of the state of North Carolina, which was actually after the Civil War, we had a constitutional convention, and the southern states, including North Carolina, adopted a constitution. This was after the Civil War. Well, one of the articles in the Declaration of Articles of the North Carolina Constitution, it's Article 1 in Section 15, and you know what it says? And it's the only constitution in the southern states where there is a right or to a privilege to vote in the Constitution of the state. North Carolina, it says that the people have a right to the privilege to vote. And it says, and the state shall provide for it. That's what the Constitution says. Now, when the state Supreme Court on these two other occasions that already has ruled in our favor, said that, look, the people of North Carolina have a constitutional right. Only state in the South that has in its Constitution that we have a right to the privilege of education. And the what? And the state shall provide for it. That means fund it, do what it takes to provide, as the court ordered Judge Manning's, the North Carolina Supreme Court affirmed Judge Manning's court orders and said that we have a right to a sound, say sound, basic, education. Sound, basic, education. Now those are the constitutional dimensions. That's what the Supreme Court will be, they will be hearing it on the 31st of August. And that's when we're going to what? We're going to pray. We're going to pray on the 31st of August. All right. Now, we're on November 8th, we're going to do what? And today we're going to do what? Protest. All right. Now, the other speakers have ably, I think, told you, and particularly, is it Miss Kelly Walker? Tamika Kelly Walker, Tamika Walker Kelly? Okay, all right, one of those. She's done an able job in informing you about Leandro and what it means for children, what it means in the classroom. And I'm not going to belabor that. I just want you to remember that. And I want you to do one more thing. I want you all to know that we have a plan. There is a Leandro plan. It's a court-ordered plan, but it was a plan that was developed by educators and a consortium of experts. But in doing that plan, they went into communities, they interviewed teachers, they interviewed community, they interviewed parents, they interviewed leaders. But we have a plan. And it's a, you know, the court adopted the plan, and at the time, I don't think the opposing parties, which are state, the ones that are opposing it now, which is really the General Assembly, leadership in the General Assembly, opposed. What they did oppose was funding the plan. Now, folks, let me tell you something. When I was in law school, I was taught that if there's an injury, there's a remedy. That's what courts are for. If there's an injury, then there's a remedy. If there's a harm, then there's a remedy. That's what courts are for. And that's what was done in Leandro. We fashioned the remedy. But you know what? When I was public defender, there were some people who didn't go and pay their fines. You know what? They were ordered to come back to court. And some of them, you know, they give them a chance, and they maybe give them another chance. They'd order to come back to court. Sooner or later, you're going to pay the fine, or you're going to pay up. And so we are interested in working the plan. I want you to know what the plan, read what the plan is. The plan is on several of the websites of the sponsors and allies we have here today. But it's a 7-point plan read the plan, what it is that what we want implemented and funded by the General Assembly. It's a plan. Now I'm gonna tell you something about a plan and about in a court case. If we got a plan, you give the other side a chance to produce their plan. Now what's their plan? Does anybody know what their plan is? Do they have a plan? Well, we have a plan. We have a plan. Say, we have a plan.
We have a plan.
Where's your plan? We have a plan.
We have a plan.
Where's your plan?
Where's your plan?
All right. So that makes sense to me that they ought to do what they should have been doing these last 27 years, and that's what the court is going to decide. Now that's the constitutional dimensions, and I'm fixing to quit now. But the political dimensions of what we can do is what? On November the 8th, we're going to what? Vote. Now that's the political dimensions. That's the political. We can decide on November the 8th the political dimensions. The court decides the constitutional dimensions. And on today, we're going to what? The 31st, before the North Carolina Supreme Court, we're going to do what? And on November the 8th, we're going to do what?
Vote.
Thank you.